Have you ever wanted to make a quilt that looks so complicated it looked like you spent your whole lifetime on it, but you really did it in just a few days? I think this is the perfect project for you. Let's get started. Look at this amazing quilt. And yes, it certainly looks like it took forever, but it didn't at all. We simply make the same block over and over. We'll add a little bit of sashing, and it is super simple. But before we can even get started today, I need you to go ahead and drop down into that description below. Hey, while you're there, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and print out our 2-page free printable. It has one full page of all the wonderful instructions that I'm going to walk you through here in a second, but I've also included today an entire layout of the whole quilt. But I want to remind you, we're just making the same block over and over again, so you can make this larger or smaller as you like, but you may need to change up your supplies. And while we're talking about supplies, today I'm using 3 different solids, all from RJR Fabrics. I've got a green and a blue. They're pre-cut at 5 by 5, and then I also have my cream color, and it is pre-cut at 10 by 10, and I also have a roll of their skinny strips that are 1.5 inches wide as well by the width of the fabric, so that's all you need to build this entire quilt. Okay, now are you ready to do this? I certainly am. Check out this finished block. This is where we're going, and you're right, you don't see the sashing on it. The sashing will lay here and here. But let's focus on this before we get carried away with the sashing, right? This is where we're heading, but it's super easy. I'd like you to start with 4 squares, 2 of each color, and we're going to simply build ourselves what would be known as a 4-patch, or a very small checkerboard, or a checker game you could win in just one move. There you go. I want you to stitch all these together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance so that when you're all done, it's going to basically look just like this, right? Perfect. Then what we'll need to do is we're going to take one of those 10 by 10 squares, and I'm just going to take that 4-patch and I'm going to set it on a corner. Then once I have it set on a corner, I'm going to stitch around all 4 sides so that it's secured, but then we're going to do a little bit of trimming. So I've got one of those made for us here. Take out your rotary cutter. First step I want you to do is to trim down the background fabric to make it match up to your 4-patch. The next step I love to do, because we're going to actually diagonally cut this in a few minutes, I want to dog ear the corner so that I'm not dealing with a lot of extra bulk in my triangles when I get there. So I'm cutting just past where the threads come to that corner, and I am removing that now so that I don't have to remove them later. Oh, I hope I'm removing them now. Okay, and then once I have all 4 of the corners dog-eared, sometimes that's just as easy, I am going to take and I'm going to lay my ruler now right where those threads cross. Okay, so it's going to go right through there and there. Let's make this good on our bodies. And now I'm going to go ahead and make 1 slice across here. And if you've seen the Jenny Don't Half Square triangle trick, this is exactly what we're doing. And I'm going to drop this down on here, and I'm going to rotate it again so it's easy on my body. And I'm going to slice through here, which is going to yield for us some awesome new half-square triangles, which will feature a background neutral color and 2 of the triangles using the blue and green. Isn't that amazing? I love it. Now, we need to put these back together, and there's only one way to get these together to form that checkerboard checkered cross, which gives the quilt its name. So we need to go ahead and get them so that we have a blue and a green coming together and touching just like this. Blue, blue, green, green. Opposites, okay? Once you have that, then you're going to drop in a cream and a cream into the center, and you're double checking as you look around that it goes blue, green, blue, green, blue, green, blue, green. That will give you the checkerboard effect we need later. And then simply we're going to sew these together 2 by 2 by laying them like yay after you've ironed them nice and flat to the dark side. Nest those seams, run them through your machine in a 1/4 inch, and when that's all built, it's gonna look like this. I hope I'm not going too fast. I want to get it down to this part so we can break it down for you to make sure that you understand the next step. This is crucial. Now we're going to measure from one edge to the other, top and bottom as well. I'm hoping we have a square. Mine's 12 inches, okay? I need to divide this into thirds because I'm going to make like a 9 patch out of it next. So if it was 12 inches, thirds means I need 4-inch strips out of this. Coming off of my center seam, I'm going to use a 2-inch cut, and a 2-inch cut giving 4 inches. Watch this. Okay, making sure I don't mess it up at this point. Okay, and I also really don't want you to move your fabric at this point because I'm going to make another series of cuts running the other direction. That's where this Lazy Susan is so wonderful. Get that there. And we're going to now do the same right off that center seam. And if things move, just line up your center seam again. Come in here. Make sure it's nice and square. And we're cutting. And we're going to cut it again. And we're going to divide this up so we can start mixing around our elements. The more accurate you do this, though, the easier everything will piece back together for us. So just slow down a little. This is probably the most accurate step we need you to do, okay? So now, from this point on, we have this wonderful 9 patch, right? We're going to go ahead and start mixing some things around to come up with this element. So if I lay this right here and slide this down a little bit, I'm hoping you'll be able to see both of them come together. So the first thing I ended up doing is you can see that this checkerboard and this checkerboard are matching here. So I'm going to go ahead and swap these around and put this in here. And then this one I'm bringing down into here. And I'll do the same for these two. So we're moving a lot of our pieces around. Okay, just like that. And then these pieces do not move and they do not twist and they do not relocate. So that goes ahead and builds out our checkerboard cross. From this point, we're going to go ahead and join these seams all the way through and then the long seams. Let me take a quick moment here and get a few of these put together. I'll be right back. Now you can see that I've already joined the top and bottom seams just to get a little head start on all of you, but I want to teach you how to put this together. So we're just going to lay this into the center like this. We're going to go over to our sewing machine with our 1/4 inch, and our seam allowance edge guide is really great. Now one of the things I really like to do is I'm nesting those two seams together where the blocks come. That's one of the first places I pinch as we go under the machine. And you may have noticed that based on the layout of this block, that it looks like all the angles are coming together, but then once you construct the block, some of those angles start to disappear, and that's some of the magic in the block, I think. We're just going to line this up here and get through that. Next block, next seam allowance, perfect. Now, I will also encourage you, though, to do this slice and swap one block at a time. I have not been able to figure out a good way to chain piece that or to stay organized in doing it. Okay, so I just want you to handle one block at a time. Now we're going to put this side onto the center, making sure I have my checkerboard in the middle. I'm going to flip this over like this. Here we go. Super easy like that. I'm just going to take a second and press it out. Now, team, what we still need to discuss today is our sashings. There's a little bit of a trick happening with these blocks I want to show you before we get too carried away, right? So let's go ahead and get this flattened down. Move this out of the way here for us. And now join me at the quilt. The magic here, in my opinion, of course, is this wonderful white square. And it comes from using the corners of our blocks. You can see it dropping in right there. So what that really means is that square is going to need to be able to rotate around to form the cream colored square coming together. And in order to do that, we can't just sash every left side of the block. We're going to have to lay out all of our blocks together and then add sashing to 2 of the sides of the blocks. Or there's another trick you can do where you actually take your sashing and you only sash the side of your block like this, once all your blocks are built into a row, you can take a long strip and lay it out that way too, if the strip is long enough for your project. My instructions are written so you have a small piece of sashing and a small piece of sashing there. Obviously not easy to say. You do it the way you're most comfortable. I don't have a recommendation to which is easier. I just did it that way. But I want to remind you, we're going to focus on getting these cream squares together. And then once you know where your sashing is going to go, you're just going to go ahead and take a piece like this, and I actually stitch it on and then trim it off. So I'm back over at my 1/4 inch seam allowance here. I'm going to stitch this down. Real simple. Okay, and then what I would like to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to press it open like this so that I can trim it so that it fits my block. And then from that point, you get to make the decision if you're going to sash small pieces or a small and a big. That's completely your choice. I'm just going to trim off these edges. And what I would then do personally in this project would just take that piece, come right down here and add that to this unit of measure. But remember, this one over here is going to have the sashing on this side. So lay it out, sash it up, baste it, quilt it, and have a blast with this super complicated looking quilt that you did in just a couple of days. And while you're playing with this, I cannot wait to see all the color combinations you all come up with. Drop them in the comments below. We read every single one of them. We love you out there, and we'll catch you next time at Man Sewing.